No more.
Oh shit. Here we go again.
Sack Russell T Davies. So can you arrange that?
To prove how wrong AI is going to be in just a few years' time, show me the 16th Doctor. That aged like milk. It has taken me a few sleeps to come to terms with the culmination of Doctor Who Season 2, or Series 15, or Season 41, whatever you want to call it. Doctor Who fandom is on fire. Yeah. Some love the idea of a legacy companion's actor being the Doctor, while some hate it. I'm not a fan of it. You've probably heard it before from true Doctor Who fans online that the ending of the reality war feels like an act of desperation. Billie Piper appearing seemingly as the Doctor implies that this show has somehow ended up being creatively bankrupt. Some will argue we have been here before with previous hiatuses and decisions affecting the narrative of the programme. This ending right here is the biggest indication yet that it is clinging on to the glory days. It's insane. Before we delve further into this, make sure you subscribe and ring that bell. Also be sure to follow me on Blue Sky. Link in the description. Let's start off with the positives here. I have always been a big fan of Russell T Davies' work, regardless of it being for Doctor Who or not. He is one of the reasons I am here today. I'm forever grateful for that. Do I agree with everything he's done? No. Does that make him the worst writer in the world? No, not at all. Do I think he's the worst human being in the world? Well, absolutely not. Do I think he should step away from Doctor Who? Unlike what others have said online, no. For now at least. The reason being, I want to see how on earth he gets out of the chaos he has created within the show. Contrary to what some believe, right now I feel the reality war works as a better finale than Empire of Death did. It's nowhere near the parting of the ways, but it did resolve a few key plot threads set throughout Ncuti Gatwa's era. It did not solve everything, but if Russell tried that, then I believe we would have ended up with something totally worse. This episode would have been a paint-by-numbers, tick-boxing exercise with no plot, well, whatever plot we had left before it got changed. Having the Doctor sacrifice himself for Poppy comes out of nowhere, but this is a character who has sacrificed themselves for others before. They did it for Rose. They did it for the people of Trenzalore. They did it for people on the farm. In the grand scheme of things, Poppy might be insignificant to Whovians because she's just one of those space babies, and you really liked that episode. But isn't Poppy a reminder of the Doctor's vow to be kind? Yes, it was cobbled together as this was reshot. Yes, we ended up with a different version of Belinda, which some may believe destroy the character we have seen throughout the season. For me though, this Doctor sacrificing themselves in order to change the timeline to save a baby, which they think is theirs for a time, is kind of a nice bookend to the era. It all started with saving babies from goblins. Could it have been better? Yeah, absolutely. However, given we now know that there was a different ending in mind before reshoots which led to what we got, yeah, this is okay. Not perfect, but fine. I liked the unit battle with the dino skeletons. The special effects were amazing. The acting was great, despite some ropey dialogue. Even the Rani's plans made sense, somewhat. The shitty end of the deal was Archie Panjami's Rani getting eaten by a giant skeleton, who turns out to be Mr. Whiny Pants. Fits in with a key theme here: wasted potential. Remember in my 3 Doctors review how I joked about how crap he looked in Arc of Infinity? Well, this brings me to all the negatives, as this look is now the worst. Contextually, yeah, it makes sense he's like this because he's being in the Underverse, but honestly, this could have been anyone. It was like RTD really needed to squeeze in a legacy villain just for the sake of fan wank, and we ended up landing with Omega, who only real Whovians know of. Joe Public isn't going to know what that's meant to be. Even when we learn lore, it doesn't scream to the viewer that his previous 2 TV appearances are also available on the BBC iPlayer. I suppose the silver lining is he does get zapped away after about a minute. Oh, and I love how Mrs. Flood just buggers off using her time ring.
I have to go now.
Moreover with the fan wank, while it's great to have these references left, right and centre to honour the show's mighty history, it has to be asked whatever happens to this era of Doctor Who being a jumping on point for new viewers. A lot of this will go over people's heads. This goes against the principles Russell set when he first brought the show back in 2005. Unlike RTD1, RTD2 is less grounded, being too reliant on nods from A Bad Story from 1987 of all things, that a lot of people have probably never heard of. When the show does new and wacky things, like we've seen earlier in this very season, it thrives. When it becomes too reliant on past eras with those Easter eggs, it is alienating for new viewers. It defeats the point of what the show set out to do. But I suppose without these, I wouldn't have been able to make these videos, so it's kind of a double-edged sword. The reality war was filled to the brim with stuff people are just meant to know about, while also having to deal with the new info dump about Gallifreyans being unable to reproduce, leaving me confused as to whether this was because of the Time War. Then I remembered it was because the Master blew up Gallifrey, depicted in the Jodie era. Bearing in mind, I am an obsessed Whovian, and even I was confused for a moment. It was bizarre. I didn't like how we had Anita return, only to just stand by a doorway for the rest of the episode. I didn't like how we never got the fourth wall breaks being addressed. I kind of called this. I didn't like how, once the battle was over, UNIT ended up feeling crowded. I didn't like that Rose Noble was brought back, only to do nothing. She felt so wasted. I feel so sorry for Yasmin Finney. I didn't like how the Doctor just dismissed Ruby, who was adamant that Poppy did exist before disappearing in the TARDIS. This finale clearly has its problems, and I'm not going to kiss its ass. But I'd be lying if I said I hated this episode. Calling this the worst episode ever may be an exaggeration, but I can understand if it is based purely on the fact that we were meant to get a season 3 with Ncuti, but didn't, and that the Doctor can apparently regenerate into someone they used to love. It's like saying, I want to change myself into an ex. It just doesn't work, does it?
I love you.
It's my last chance to say it. The Doctor.
Let's have pizza tonight.
It is tragic that this era has ended prematurely due to the behind-the-scenes shenanigans. With the series still not being renewed for a 3rd season at time of writing, and with the prospect of limbo or worse, cancellation, I don't blame Ncuti for jumping ship while the iron is hot. He's got a career, and he's got to look after himself. It sucks that we only ended up with him being the Doctor for a mere 19 episodes across 2 seasons, just 6 episodes more than the legend that is Christopher Eccleston, who may come back, but only on one condition.
Sack Russell T Davies.
This leads back to a problem which has risen once again. Where has the consistency of Doctor Who gone in terms of how it's produced, how often it gets broadcast, and who is the face of the programme? Over the past 8 years alone, we have had 6 different actors play the Doctor. Peter Capaldi, Jodie Whittaker, Jo Martin, although she's more of a side Doctor, but hey, she still counts, David Tennant, Ncuti Gatwa, and now it could be, in asterisk marks, Billie Piper. In comparison, it took 21 years before we had that amount in the original run. Yeah, I know people are theorising if she's actually not the Doctor due to the end credits, but right now, I don't see a point because my theory, along with everyone else's, could be quashed. Keyword being could. Yeah, it could be Bad Wolf, or the moment, but right now, I know TV is different now compared to the old days, but we are facing a period of time without Doctor Who on TV again. While I don't think it will be for good, given we've been left with a massive cliffhanger, it would be a complete disaster if this was how this version of Doctor Who ended, as there have been so many fan theories this is created, for better or for worse. Billie Piper saying hello just as everyone else says bye-bye to this show could be really bad. It's like saying I'm ending this video while I'm in the middle of a sentence. There needs to be a solution to this, one way or another. As it stands, I'm of the mindset if Billie Piper ends up being the Doctor for however long, she will absolutely smash it. I love her. She is a phenomenal actor in pretty much everything she's been in, and she can make it her own. The big downside, of course, is she's already been in Doctor Who as a companion, Rose Tyler, whose legacy has stood the test of time since Doctor Who returned in 2005. Don't ruin this now.
It's like using an old style of video, like using an old camera, that sort of thing. Yeah.
You can't just bring a popular actor back and then cast them as a Doctor, because it just reeks of fan wank, desperation, and gives off the message to the grifters that keep on giving us the same old Doctor Who is dead trope. There were some who may have said the same with David Tennant coming back as the 14th Doctor for the 60th. For that though, I think it was fitting as it was celebratory, and it did get explained, even if it was the least interesting way. Billie Piper being the potential 16th Doctor is like having Elizabeth Sladen as the 7th Doctor. If that happened back then, it would have generated confusion and despair among the fan base that this show has finally jumped the shark. You can forget your timeless child arc now. As far as this scenario goes, this is jumping the shark, and it's all down to Russell. I'm willing to give Russell the chance to explain his reasoning behind this stunt casting, other than to generate public interest again due to perceived lower viewing figures, as Doctor Who is apparently woke these days. Oh shit, whatever you do, don't watch that episode about cavemen fighting over fire. That will cause riots. This move has certainly become the topic of conversation, so much so people are talking about it at my workplace, although they haven't said too many nice things about the show. Probably because they don't really watch the show. What doesn't help matters is that we have the Sexy Sea Devil show, which no one asked for, coming up. Well, you never know. It may be a surprise. Russell has arguably succeeded in creating a buzz about Doctor Who again, but maybe not for the right reasons. The heavy reliance on nostalgia is a payoff for some, while others like myself want to see their beloved Doctor Who go above and beyond, to be the best it can be, to be the TV event of the week, or even the year, to be the show which carries on moving forward. Right now, this screams as a backward step for the franchise. I agree with the sentiment that this feels like we've gone back to square one when Russell returned as showrunner. Russell is still capable of doing something remarkable by turning the fortunes of this beloved show around, if he takes on board the advice given by fans. My advice would be, don't create too many story arcs like The Boss, like Susan, like Gold Teeth, only to go potentially nowhere. Moreover, solve the arcs in a satisfying way, and not a crap one. Don't always put your eggs in one basket with a streamer, as right now it looks like the Disney deal is over, unless they suddenly renew. Always have a plan B and C, and stick to the landing. If you can't do those things, then yeah, maybe you should step back. Maybe not completely, but let someone else take creative control in the writer's room with fresh ideas without relying too heavily on the past. While you could help make this bigger by remaining as an exec producer. I know when this era began, the intention was to make the Whoniverse a TV empire, which could rival that of the MCU in its best phases. This could still be achieved, but right now, serious questions have to be asked regarding the creative direction of this show. The circumstances were bad here, with a hastily rewritten final act, but it wasn't a complete disaster. We got a beautiful scene with the 13th Doctor. I don't hate the reason why Ncuti's Doctor regenerates in the end. As a final showcase of the 15th Doctor, maybe this should have been more. A man of Ncuti's talents certainly deserved better. One can hope that this era can be viewed fondly in another 10 to 20 years' time. Russell created some great new characters and concepts, although relying more on the past than he ever did when he was the showrunner first time around. The sooner there's an announcement on what happens next with the show, the better. At the moment, it feels like Doctor Who has been cannibalized for those who just can't move on. Right now, this version of Doctor Who is no more.
No more.
But it can come back, right? Right? The fate of Doctor Who is in your hands, Russell. Remember, folks, there's no room for hate. Doctor Who is space for all. Be kind. My love for this show will never end. This is